Customer discovery. Step one, get out of the building. Talk face to face with one customer at a time. Not focus groups, not surveys. Get into detailed peer-to-peer conversations about what they like, what they don't like, how they're solving the problem now, how serious the problem is or is not for them, and so forth. The first time you go out of the building, you don't talk about your product or service at all. Entrepreneurs hate this. They want to go out and sell and get orders and get people to say, oh, what a great idea. The first time you go out for what I lovingly call the give a crap test. Because anybody you think you're going to sell to, give a crap about what you're doing. Are you solving a problem that matters to them? Does it matter to them once a month, once an hour, once a day? Imagine if you have a product that makes Christmas Eve magnificent. That can't possibly be a business, right? It's just, one day, everything's about one day a year. So you've got to sell that idea quickly to somebody who does a whole lot of fourth quarter business or whatever. So step one, how do you solve this problem now? If you just discovered you had this problem, how would you go about figuring out how to solve it? Would you read a trade journal, a certain blog? Would you go to a trade show? You want your customers to tell you your get customers plan. How am I going to get people like you to learn about my product or service? Then the second time you go out without leaving your favorite chair. You spend a day becoming your own customer. You get in your most comfortable pajamas or sweatpants or whatever, in your most comfortable chair with a big pot of tea or coffee, and you spend the day trying to make believe that you are someone in your customer segment trying to find the product you are about to build. Because you're going to find it. Maybe you'll find it in Mexico or China. Maybe you'll find half of it in China and the other half in Mexico. Actually, it would be the other way around because Mexico doesn't really believe in intellectual property, so easier to go that way. But you will learn so much about this business that you're entering. Simple example, a South American university wanted to launch an online education platform. So, well, we've got the professors, we've got the content, we have the video studios and the web production studios. What else do we need to be successful? And they said, well, you need two things. One, you need a point of view about how you're different. And two is you need to understand the current market. So before we talk any further, I want you to go home, get in your favorite chair, tell me how many online learning platforms there are, how many of them operate in Spanish, and what they typically charge for a course. And they quickly came back and said, oops, 206, that's my all-time record, 206 online learning platforms, about 25% of them operating in Spanish, and more than 25% of them giving the content away. So they went from massive multi-course online learning platform number 207 to niche specialized courses focused on the Caribbean basin and free trade and legal documentation of free trade in the Caribbean basin, selling the courses for $40 to $60 a copy, using the law professors in the university, and built a lovely, scalable business in a very narrow niche of the sort of online platform world. After, and only after, you do those two exercises, presumably both of them will lead to changes at least in your business model, if not in your product itself. Maybe you'll learn that this product would only be tried by people if there were a freemium version, or they don't really want to buy it, they want to rent it. So you might go to SaaS subscription software or to leasing instead of purchase if it's a capital good product. But the third time you go out, you finally get to do what you want to do, which is to show people your product, to get some reaction. But the odds are overwhelming the product isn't done. So you show them your minimum viable product, which I'll come to in just one more minute. There are a couple of rules about all the phases of customer discovery I just want to hit on briefly. Number one, you have to do this yourself. You can't assign it to interns, you can't hire McKinsey or use market research organizations or do online surveys. You need to be in the moment with the customer, seeing when they light up and when they nod off, seeing what they're enthusiastic about, and mostly looking or listening for cues as to ways to make your product a lot better. The reason you have to listen for those is you as the founder are the only one who's empowered to make a dramatic change in the company if you start to hear that feedback consistently enough from enough different people in the customer segment. And that's called a pivot, a dramatic change in one of the 9 boxes of your business model. If you send junior people out to do this, somewhere in the back of the report will be a couple of quote, verbatim comments from some of your customers. You may not ever see them. If the intern goes out and gets horrible news like nobody likes the product, you think they're going to tell it like it is when they come back to see the CEO of the company? They're going to temper that feedback with, sort of rounding the edges and making it gentler and so forth. 2 more rules. Never do discovery with friends or family. Basically, friends and family fail the ugly baby rule. Right? You can have and bring the ugliest baby on the planet to Christmas dinner, and everybody will find something nice to say. I've never seen a baby with a cute beard like that before. How adorable. Or 3 ears. What a novel, when you show up to talk to a friend, a professor, an investor, a college roommate, to talk to, or family member, even worse, to talk to them about your idea, they know exactly what kind of feedback you want. So they give you all this positive, buoyant, encouraging feedback as opposed to telling you what they really honestly think. And so the best use of your friends and family is to get them to introduce you to other people who are their friends, who will give you 20 minutes of feedback as an obligation to their friend and yours, but have no obligation to tell you how beautiful that baby is, with the eye in the middle of her head and 4 ears and whatever. And the last rule, you are not selling. You are having peer-to-peer discovery, learning kinds of conversations, trying to engage that customer in a rather randomized discussion of the problem, the current solution, the way they go about solving that problem now, the strengths and weaknesses of that current solution, what's missing from it that's most important, what you offer and what you don't offer. And if you are going to get these interviews, particularly in the business-to-business environment where people are even more sort of possessive of their available time, you're going to get them by guaranteeing up front that this is not a sales call, this is a conversation. I'm going to tell you what I know about the CAD design, software for the iPhone. You're going to tell me your thoughts about whether you would use it or not, and so forth. It's an exchange of views where you're trading information with the customer, hoping to get honest, genuine feedback.